Hello, hello. Greetings from EUROSTUDENT. EUROSTUDENT 9 is almost halfway through, so we decided that it would be interesting to hear some insights from the field. For example, how does EUROSTUDENT 9 data collection in action actually look like? So today we will get a behind the scenes look with the help of five wonderful people. First of all, my colleagues from Eurostudent Consortium, Silvia Mandl and Cordelia Mentz, will from IGS will give an international overview how the project is doing. IGS is this partner in the consortium who does the central coordination of national research teams and supports the survey execution and data delivery. So we will hear their comments from that side. And in addition, we have here national researchers from the three different countries, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, and Sweden. So I will introduce them all very briefly, and then we can already continue with our webinar and the discussion part. So first of all, I'm very happy to have here Alexandru Petridou from Cyprus. Alexandra is Education Officer at the Department of Higher Education at the Ministry of Education, Sport and Youth of Cyprus. She coordinates the research projects of the department, including the project called Development of a National Graduate Tracking Mechanism and Design and Implementation of National Employers Skills Survey, which is done under the Recovery and Resilience Facility. Alexandra's work focuses on graduate tracking, skills mismatches, and the social dimension of higher education, and she represents Cyprus in the Eurograduate as well as Eurostudent projects, and also in the European network of graduate tracking. Our second national researcher here today is Michal Janičko from the Czech Republic. He works as an analyst at the Czech National Agency for International Education and Research, and he has been involved in data collection, cleaning, and analysis within Eurostudent in Czech Republic in the current wave. His other experiences include graduate and employer service with the focus on the transition from education to employment. And last but definitely not least, we have here Jari Rusanen from Sweden. Jari works as an analyst at the Swedish Council for Higher Education, and he has been involved in the Eurostudent projects already since 2017. In addition, Jari has a long experience from working with international student mobility. So greetings to all of you. I am very happy that you agreed to join this webinar today and share your experiences and thoughts regarding Eurostudent and its data collection. To start with, I would like to give us all some international context and the big picture overview of this round data collection. So let's turn to IGS, Silvia and Cordelia first. And to begin with, I would like to hear what is the current state of the ninth round of Eurostudent? How many countries have finished their field phase and how many will do it soon?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Marlene. I'm happy to answer it. So as you all know, we're collecting data in Eurostudent always in the spring or summer semesters, which ended already for 2025. And it's always the majority of countries collecting data in the first year of our 3 years project. So this was in 2025. And we had 19 countries now that have done their data collection and are already finished. This leaves us with 6 more countries to collect data next year. And we also have a special case, which is Switzerland, and they already collected their data last year, so in 2024, but they'll be able to produce most of the Eurostudent indicators anyhow, so they are also part of it. But the data collection was already the first one that was done.
Nice. So a lot of work has already been done, but still some have some steps to go. Has there been anything specific or different in this round of EuroStudent? And if yes, then what?
Yeah, so what we can see in this round is that more and more countries are using the central survey tool, which means that they have their survey programmed by the consortium partner ResearchNet. So especially for researchers new to EuroStudent, that makes their data collection as well as preparation a lot easier. Regarding the content, for EuroStudent rounds 8 to 10, we are leaving the core questionnaire, so the main part of the questionnaire the same, but we decided to include so-called topical modules. Those contain questions that are only asked for one round specifically. We do this in order to cover specific situations. For example, like last round, COVID was of interest, of course, for this round, not so interesting anymore. So for this round, we have the special topics included that are future plans of students. So in which sectors they can imagine working after their studies. We're asking more about financial difficulties and more about mental health and discrimination in this round.
Nice. So some new topics to get the insights as well. And I can imagine then that we should have invited ResearchNet as well because they seem to have more and more work every round with the central survey tool being more popular. Um, but are there any challenges regarding the survey execution that you have heard of from national teams, maybe during the preparatory seminars or data delivery workshops? Is there anything?
Yes, of course, it's there are sometimes challenges. So what something that we heard from the countries is that it was again hard to reach good response rates or high response rates. But decreasing response rates is something that we've already seen in the last rounds of EuroStudent and that we also see everywhere in online surveys. So it's not specific to our project, but still it's not so good. But that's why we're trying to find good solutions for data collection regarding reminders and incentives with all the researchers from the different countries. So I'm also very curious to hear from the national representatives now how they dealt with it. And something that was not as challenging this time, I think, was the programming of the questionnaire, because this time there, like all the countries had programs that were, yeah, able to insert all the difficult filters that we have. So everything in the collecting of the data worked really well, especially for the countries using the central survey tool, of course, but also for the other ones. And what is also always a challenge is to get the contact data from the students. So in some countries, this was more work than expected, but still mostly very doable to get it in the end. But this is something that, yeah, takes a lot of time, which is sometimes underestimated, but it worked out very well anyhow. And of course, the restrictions in time and budget can also have a negative influence on the data collection.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think that some of these challenges are the same from round to round. Always the response rate question and contacting the students question. But of course, we can hear from our national researchers as well, definitely some interesting experiences and ideas. Any questions to Sylvia or Cordelia regarding this international perspective and survey execution? Anybody from the audience? Seems that at the moment not, but is there anything, Sylvia or Cordelia, that you would like to add yourself? Maybe something you thought that would also be worth of mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, we are always glad having new EuroStudent partners joining, so we have new countries in the game. So we're glad to have Cyprus now, for example. So if there's countries in the audience not being part of EuroStudents, we highly recommend trying to get a EuroStudent team, research team as well, and joining the big EuroStudent family with us.
Yeah, after today's webinar, we have a recording where we are talking about the experiences, so we can start promoting with that information as well. Anyways, thank you, Cordelia and Sylvia. You are like very, very welcome to join in with your comments and questions during the whole webinar. Also, when we are talking about national insights, and you can add your ideas, of course, because you have a bit different perspective, but we are still in the same system, so-called. Anyway, let's turn to insights from the countries then. And I would like to do a quick warm-up round for national researchers. So, Jari, Michal, and Alexandra, from each of you, I would like to hear 2 keywords that you would use for describing EUROSTUDENT 9 data collection. And then, when was the field phase in your country to collect EUROSTUDENT 9 data, and what was the response rate for your country? Who would like to start?
Well, I suppose I can start. 2 words, digital mailbox.
Okay, it already
We'll find out
the
later what it
insight.
is. And the field phase started in April and ended in mid-August, but by far the most students they answered in April in the beginning of the but we kept it open in summer, and we got some answers then also. And response rate unfortunately was only 15%, which is less than it has been before.
How high has it been before?
Last time it was 18, and before that was 20. So it kind of follows the European trend, but it's still sad.
Okay, but you can give a word to Alexandra or Michal. You can just mention next colleague.
All right, Alexandra.
Hello. For Cyprus, the 2 keywords will be collaborative and centralized. Field phase took place between mid-May and mid-July. The response rate for us was very disappointing. It was only 3%, which was quite a low response rate and very disappointing for first-time participation. So we hope next round we will do much better than this.
Okay, and let's then hear about the Czech Republic. Michal, please.
So the keywords, I would say communication and perseverance. And the response rate, okay, so Jari said that 15% is disappointing, but we've got 10%, which was actually positive news for us, because it was improvement compared to the previous round, where it was reported at various places between 4 to 7%. So yeah, it was good news for us, actually, this 10% this time.
And when was the field phase for you in your case?
Yeah, sorry, from beginning of May until the end of July.
So quite similar for all of you here, at least. Yeah, it's subjective in that sense, that what is high and what is low response rate, and what is disappointing for someone, and what is surprising positively for someone else. Because I think in Nordic countries the response rate has been actually quite high previously, but as Jari said, the trend is the same as in the whole Europe, that the response rates are decreasing. Okay, it was nice to hear the keywords already. It gives us some insights, definitely, what we are going to discuss and talk about more in detail now. But before turning to certain topics like communication and recruitment and so on, maybe each of you, Jari, Michal, and Alexandra, can tell us in a couple of minutes, how is data collection organized in your country, and what about your recruitment strategy? How is it organized? Do you collaborate with higher education institutions? How is communication to students done? What are the incentives? So just how do you organize your survey, and how do you recruit those students who will answer the questionnaire? Maybe we can start with you, Michal.
Okay. So in the Ministry of Education asked universities to cooperate with us, with the Czech National Agency for International Education, on this survey, and then from that point it was left on us to do this job. Most universities nominated contact persons through which the further communication continued. Some universities, however, refused already at the beginning to cooperate. Not many, but some did more than in the previous round. So the willingness of universities to participate, unfortunately, decreases. So in those cases where they cooperated, the universities sent out the questionnaire to their students themselves. In those cases with no cooperation of universities, we used the emails to students provided by the ministry. This was actually the first time in Czechia that this administrative source of the contact email addresses were used. And so in these cases, we sent out the questionnaire ourselves. The response rate is higher when the universities do this. When we do it ourselves, it is lower because the students are more responsive towards their universities, which they know better, and where they are used to getting emails. And as for the incentives, we try to attract the students to a draw for an interrail train ticket, and based on indirect signals, this appears to be quite a good incentive. So it works to some extent at least. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the incentive seemed to work at least. Yes, but maybe Alexandra then.
Yeah, we followed a mixed approach for sending the invitations. For higher education institutions that had already secured consent from their students, so to be contacted by the ministry, the department sent the invitations directly. For the remaining, though, higher education institutions, they sent the personalized invitations to their students to both institutional and personal email addresses where they were available. A total of 3 reminder messages were sent through the field phase. Now, regarding the recruitment strategies, first, when EUROSTUDENT representatives visited Cyprus, as we were a country that participated for the first time, we organized a national event and we invited representatives from all higher education institutions and student unions. And there we presented the study and we highlighted the importance of the study for national policies. We also developed a national brand identity, CY Students, Studies and Student Life in Cyprus. So to focus on the local relevance of the study, we also developed a logo, a website, and even a promotional video. To further motivate engagement, we also provided incentives for participation. We provided vouchers for popular franchise restaurants that were available across all cities in Cyprus. Yeah.
Yeah, I just posted a link of the webpage that your ministry created for the survey, and
Yes.
for this brand identity creation, I posted it to the chat as well, so that others can see the webpage as well if they're interested.
Yeah.
Okay, but then let's fly to Sweden. Jari, please.
Thank you. Yeah, in Sweden, we cooperated a lot with Statistics Sweden for different reasons. They have a survey tool that we used. They are very experienced with that. And also, they have one good thing that is registered data. They have lots of registered data, so we thought we don't have to ask students everything because quite a lot we actually know ourselves. We know their date of birth, sex, ECTS credits they have received, when they started their studies, which university they study program, subject codes, parents' educational background, country of birth, both student and parents, citizenships, also students and parents, highest education of parents, country of birth, where they graduated from high school, and also how much they have received average student loans and student grants. So it is kind of makes it easier for students to answer with and don't have to answer everything. And also we can trust maybe those answers a little bit better when they come from recent data. But of course, there were some students that we didn't have data, so then we had to ask them. And then comes the digital mailbox that I mentioned to you. This is called Kivra in Sweden. It is a kind of private app that people have on their telephones. And for the first time, we thought we will use that instead of, we don't really have mail addresses to students. That's very difficult to get. So we have sent them invitations in the normal post in envelopes. Before now we used this private app. Not everybody has it, but great majority of students had it, and 49,000 students were contacted. And those who didn't have it, mostly international students, they still received an envelope. And then about the recruitment strategies, we were in contact with universities and Central Student Union about the survey and discussed about the questions and necessary things. The incentive, we didn't really have great incentives. We thought that maybe they answer more honestly when they are not don't have incentives. I don't know if that works, but anyway, our incentive was that there was a letter explaining the importance of this survey, and it was signed by both our general director and the general director of Statistics Sweden. We thought if it's really, really serious and they understand the meaning of that, they will answer. That was it.
Okay, but do you believe that the fact that you have a lot of registered data already before and you have to ask less questions from students, do you believe that actually this helps you achieve the higher response rate because the questionnaire is shorter? It's like more convenient for respondents, or don't you think that it also plays a role?
Yeah, I think that is the idea, that it's easier because students say that it takes 45 minutes for them to answer the survey, and that is very much time. Normally, when they answer surveys, it's just a few minutes. So this is unusual survey. On the other hand, we had quite a lot of national questions that added time. Okay, so they kind of counterbalance each other, I would say.
Okay, and we can hear about those national topics and questions later during the webinar. But yes, it has been really interesting to see that you have a bit different strategies, a bit different ways how to organize the survey. I was also thinking about Estonia. My colleagues have been doing the EUROSTUDENT surveys in Estonia. I haven't been involved a lot in the national survey, but I know that here is vice versa when we compare Estonia and Czech Republic, for example, that we have experienced here that if the invitations or the information is sent through university, then the response rate has been lower. And once when we managed to contact the students ourselves directly, we received the email addresses, institutional email addresses from universities and cooperated with them. Then in our case, when we sent all the information and invitations and reminders ourselves, then in our case, then the response rate was higher. So it's a bit different. But I think it depends also on the universities, that if they only maybe send it once and if they don't remind, then maybe it keeps it a bit lower. But if you can control it from your side as well, then maybe it might be different. But yes, it stuck in my head because I was thinking that, oh, in your case it was that way, but in our case it has been a bit different. And I know, for example, that in Estonia regarding incentives, we have some, it's a kind of like lottery or raffle that if you answer, then we will pick like randomly some who will get some prizes. And they're like different. Some gift vouchers. Once, I think in previous round, it was a smartwatch as the main prize. So there have been, yes, different incentives as well. Anyways, as Alexandra mentioned, Cyprus is in EUROSTUDENT for the very first time. So, Alexandra, I would really like to hear about your experience. How has it been to be in this project for the first time, and what are your impressions so far?
Yeah, it was, to be honest, it was an easy and very constructive journey because we had already gained experience from our participation in EuroGraduate, which was much more complicated, to be honest, than this. But also we had excellent guidance from the EuroStudent team regarding technical support, the methodology, everything, all our questions were answered immediately. So that made every step smooth and well organized. So for future newcomers, I would say you need to start early. This was a bit of a problem for us. So we need to start early. And the most difficult part, I think, is raising awareness about the study, because students do not know about the study. So even in the higher education institutions. So you need to raise awareness, and you have to make them see that there is value for national policies as well, to make them see that this study will have an impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always with everything that just plan more time than you believe that it takes, because everything often takes more than you expected. But yeah, I think raising awareness, even if you're not the newcomer, there are still like new students coming in and every year, and making them know about the survey and that they understand why is it important. It takes a lot of effort.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Any questions maybe to Alexandra or anybody else so far? Or any comments from other countries who are listening?
Yes, Yasin from Switzerland. I would have a question for Yari and Alexandra. Did you have to program different versions of the questionnaire, meaning several languages in your country, or was it only one language for your students?
Well, I can answer for Sweden. We had Swedish and English, everything, because we have a lot of master courses that are only given in English language. So every student could choose whichever language they wanted.
Yeah, the same for us as well. It was in Greek and in English as well, because we have students from the EU and from third countries as well. So in 2 languages for Cyprus as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yasin, for the question. Yes, but we already started talking about recruiting, and I would like to go a bit more in detail with that. So question to all of you that regarding recruiting these students, what has been the biggest challenge in ensuring a good response rate? And also maybe the other question, that how do you engage the students and make them feel that their participation matters? Let's go to Czech Republic. Michal.
So for the challenges, as I mentioned, more universities than before refused to cooperate. So this was one challenge. Then another one was that our institution was invited to this project quite shortly before the data collection should have started. So we didn't have much time to prepare, especially to communicate with the universities enough in advance. So this was not easy to actually start the communication and to make everything on time. I think this follows up to what has been said here already, that the preparations should be started well in advance. So this was another challenge for us, and connected to that the data collection period coincided with the end of the teaching in the semester, and with other university surveys, for example, evaluations. And this was something that the universities often complained, that their students are overwhelmed, both at the specific period of time, but also in general, that their students are overwhelmed by different surveys. So for us, it would be better next time maybe to start earlier with data collection, earlier than May, for example. For example, in April, maybe March. That would be a lot better from our point of view. Yes, and then of course, there were complaints from students and universities about the length of the questionnaire, but I think this is something that we all know that is a problem. So, yeah.
But how did you encourage students to respond? How did you engage them so that they feel that it really matters, that they really fill in the questionnaire? Did you do anything specific?
So for one, there was this incentive in the draw for the interrail ticket. That was one incentive, and then from the other point of from the other side, we were trying to explain that the survey is important, that some measures for their benefit will be taken afterwards. We were also trying to research what has been done in the meantime. After the previous round, both in foreign countries, both in our country, on this field. In Czechia, unfortunately, there is not so much we could offer, to be honest. So this was a bit uneasy part also for us. But we tried as much as we could in this matter.
Of course, I think we all relate to these challenges that you mentioned. But maybe Alexandra, you can continue.
I think we face similar challenges as well. I already mentioned the awareness part. It's a big challenge because to make them understand, to know first about the study, to recognize it, and then to understand that their participation can make a difference for policymaking. Another challenge was the timing. In 2025, we had many national surveys running. So this made EUROSTUDENT on top of it for some higher education institutions. This was overwhelming. And this has affected their capacity to promote the survey as well. These were the two main challenges, apart from the length of the questionnaire, which is a common challenge. In terms of the engagement, this was the first national survey we had as well for collecting data regarding experiences in higher education. So we thought the best engagement approach would be student unions. So we collaborated with them closely so as to communicate and promote participation through their own channels and events. And of course, the incentives provided for completing the questionnaire.
So different approaches, like mixing different approaches to ensure that more people are engaged. Okay, but Jari, what about Sweden?
Yeah, I not so much news to add to the earlier speakers. I would only say that in the Swedish case, the biggest challenge has been the length of the survey. In general, Swedish students are pretty eager to answer surveys, so that's not necessarily a problem. But if it takes 45 minutes, just so many students think that is too long. And I already mentioned about that we explained it in the letter how important it was, but we didn't have any other incentives.
Okay, you mentioned that it takes 45 minutes. I was just wondering that is it possible for the respondents that they start filling in the survey and then they save it and turn back later, or they have to do it like in one line?
They don't have to do it right away. I would guess that many students don't especially like the economic part, the financial part, they will probably need to check some things before they can answer. Some of the questions are
So you
kind
can
of
save your answers and
difficult.
then come back to them later.
Yeah, you have your own private link, and you click that link, you get into the survey, so you can do it as many times as you want.
Yes, you have all mentioned what you have done to get the response rate higher and to recruit more respondents. Is there any practices you would recommend to other national teams for future rounds as well? For example, maybe Alexandra, you mentioned this cooperation and collaboration with student unions. How did it go? Would you recommend others trying that kind of approach as well, if they haven't used it so far, for example?
Yeah, I think we will continue to collaborate with the student unions. I think it's a very good way to promote the study. Maybe next time, I think we will have a better campaign and before EUROSTUDENT starts. And I mean posters, radio post, and maybe to participate as well, the ministry in student events and campus activities, so as to get closer to the student population. And next round, we will have findings as well from Cyprus participation. So I think this will help increase participation rates.
As also about the communication and dissemination about current round results, that if they are somehow like more visible to people, then maybe next round they will recognize survey more.
Yes. We of course when we will have the country report published and the comparative report, we plan to organize an event, and again we'll bring higher education institutions, representatives of student unions and other involved stakeholders, so to disseminate findings and make a call for a stronger participation in next round.
Yeah, I can imagine it's especially tricky when you're a newcomer, because as Michal mentioned, that maybe you can refer to some things that have been done, like policy making wise, based on EUROSTUDENT data before, but in your case, it's like difficult to show something like that because it's the first time in EUROSTUDENT, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but any practical tips from Jari or from Michal regarding recruitment?
Well, we didn't do so much promotion. Actually, our only promotion was the letter that we sent to them, that we explained the importance. And one of the reasons behind this is that there are so many surveys from different parts of private surveys, state surveys, national surveys, international surveys, and even the university has different levels making surveys. So one thing that I could recommend, if possible, try to find out about the other surveys, that you don't send out your survey at the same time as the others. So you try to, if there is, you can do a little bit before or after, or if you can't move it, if you can talk to the others if they can move their timing a little bit, so they don't get, same students won't get many surveys at the same time.
Yeah. Any comments from Michal from Czech Republic?
In our case, what proved to be quite effective was a social media campaign. So we put quite a lot of effort and also like money actually in this. So we did paid promotion on Facebook, Instagram, also Google Ads. I think the social networks were more effective than Google Ads. So also into like various Facebook groups, student groups, we promoted the survey, and this always we could see the effect like the next day, for example, in all these cases. So this is something that I like could like recommend. And then then also reminders. Like we decided to send quite a lot of reminders. Like in some cases it was even 5, I think. we were quite maybe annoying sometimes for students in this case, but every reminder still, even if it was the fifth one, it still did have effect. So all the reminders helped to increase somewhat the response rate. So yeah, even though this is a bit maybe could be a bit controversial in the point of view of like overloading students with same emails, but yeah, this was our approach this time, and it did bring some responses.
Yeah, nice to hear that at least some things worked and boosted really the response rate as you saw also, as you mentioned. Yeah, I remember, I think my colleagues in Estonia, it was in EUROSTUDENT 8, when they involved a behavioral scientist, a colleague of us, and then they created those reminding letters somehow in a different wording so that it wasn't the same every time, and tried if it gives higher response rate, and it also actually was higher than in previous rounds back then. So yeah, maybe how you approach them, how you word them, how quickly you send them, or what is the like period after each reminder, and is it like always the same? Because if you see that it's totally the same letter, then maybe just maybe delete it. But if it's somehow a bit differently worded, then maybe you just revise it again, and it somehow stuck in your head. So yeah, I remember that in Estonia once they played around with those reminding messages as well. And yes, you all mentioned that a lot of surveys are going on, and universities are overloaded with those. This is exactly the case in Estonia, also with general education schools, because, for example, I think 2 weeks ago, all universities and those companies who do service, they received a letter from head of state schools that schools are overloaded with service, and please don't turn to us and don't send us any questionnaires or come and do any interviews, because it's already been too much. So I think it's the trend in everywhere, and not only in higher education, unfortunately, that there is a lot going on, and it's of course important to research those topics. But on the other hand, the respondents are always the same, and they have to answer so many questions and be part of so many surveys. So it's a tricky part of doing this research. Okay, but you all mentioned collaboration already with universities, higher education institutions, with student unions. So maybe this is a topic we can dig into a bit more. I would like to hear, how is collaboration in your country organized with different stakeholders like student unions, higher education institutions, but also maybe the main ministry, or maybe even different ministries who are connected to this field and higher education policy? How much do you collaborate? How do you collaborate? Who would like to start?
I can start them.
Okay.
In our case, the key like point to collaborate with were the universities. So we tried a lot in this matter. We communicated like steadily with those who were willing to communicate and to cooperate in this. We also are trying to give them something in exchange for their participation in the survey. So we are going to send them microdata as soon as possible, as soon as they are in a shape that is that is good enough for them to use. For student unions, their role is not that significant in the Czech case, but we also did communicate with some, and some of them helped us with the promotion of the survey on social networks, for example. Yeah, and with the ministry, it was mainly at the beginning. The units of our Ministry of Education are also a bit understaffed. I think that which are responsible for this part. So it's also not as smooth as we would like to see, but that's how it is now.
Yeah. their own challenges everywhere. But maybe Alexandra, you can comment from the Cyprus side.
Yeah, EUROSTUDENT is coordinated by the ministry, and I think this helps a lot because we have all the higher education institutions on board. We don't need to establish, communication, collaboration. This already exists.
Yeah.
Not only for this survey, but for other surveys and other things as well. So this is a good part. We had contact points for EUROSTUDENT with each higher education institution. So we had a very good communication and collaboration with higher education institutions. With the student unions, it was the first time. I think we can do better next time with them. We will help them. We had a good collaboration, but I think we will establish a more consistent communication and collaboration with them, and maybe we will bring them on board in other surveys as well. So yeah, now, as I already mentioned, we will have this, like we had an event in the beginning, we will have also an event in the end where we all meet again and, present findings, discuss how we did, what we can do better from all sides next time.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely very interesting to look back because it's your first time.
Yes.
So it's like discussing the whole experience from different perspectives.
Yes.
Yes, and Yari, maybe you then. Is Yari still?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we don't really work that much with universities to start with. There are some researchers we at university that we work with, but it's mainly for the Central Student Union and different kinds of national agencies that we discuss a lot the questions and that we have for the round. And also whether we should add national questions, so what the researchers need for their purposes, and that is, and then we have a discussion with these people even afterwards. The universities, they come into the picture actually after we have some results to present. So then we have like these national webinars where we present our results, and then they will learn more about EUROSTUDENT, but not so much before.
Mm-hmm. So more dissemination phase.
Dissemination,
Yeah.
exactly. Dissemination is for everybody, but since we don't cooperate with the universities in the survey phase, it goes direct. As I mentioned, we have this digital mailbox direct to the students, so we don't go through the university. So that kind of limits the cooperation with the university in the beginning.
Okay, I see. I would like to go to those national questions and topics very soon, but before that, regarding collaboration, I have one more question about a bit different angle. And what about international collaboration and cooperation? How much do you feel that there is support from other national teams, for example, during data delivery workshops or these preparatory seminars that you had and you, I think, almost all participated in? What about those? Does it support you as national researchers?
Yes, I think definitely we can get ideas from others, and it's always good to meet people, and especially if you can meet in person. So you get better contacts with other people, and I can mention that in the Nordic countries we have quite a lot of cooperation with the Nordic teams, and we do some reports for the Nordic countries together. So also so that has been very useful and very good.
Nice to hear. Then comparing your results and seeing how it looks. What about the Czech Republic or Cyprus?
Yeah. My colleagues who participated at the preparatory meetings before the data collection told me that was very useful, especially for us because we were for the first time involved in EUROSTUDENT data collection. Also, the data delivery where I was also very useful. It will definitely very much help the quality of the data. So, and yeah, as Yari said, like every contact with other research teams to exchange experiences are very welcome for us.
Great to hear that this exchange of experiences helps actually. Alexandra, do you have anything to add to that, or?
Not really. I agree that when you're meeting in person is always helpful, and the impact, I think it's greater. The seminars, our national research team participated. I haven't participated, but they also told me that they were very useful and very helpful for us because it was our first participation as well. And as a newcomer, it's always great to hear good practices from other countries. So, you skip steps, you skip the mistakes made from other countries or things that didn't work out. So, yes, you can proceed quicker.
Yeah, you don't have to discover yourself everything.
Yeah. So it's very good to learn from the experience from other countries that have more experience in EUROSTUDENT, and like we do, like here today, you hear about their promotional strategies and what they do to increase response rates. So you can try yourself in the next round and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's good. I think always this kind of peer learning helps to have some new ideas maybe and inspiration. But we have mentioned country-specific questions many times already. And this would have been one of my questions, that are there any country-specific questions in the questionnaire? Do you add any extra questions, topic areas? Is there anything like that? Jari has mentioned it many times already, so maybe Jari, we can start with you.
Yeah, well, sometimes we add to the EuroStudent questions some Swedish alternatives, national alternatives, because the situation is a little bit different in different countries. But in addition to that, we also this time we had questions about national minorities because we are very much interested how the national minorities are doing in higher education and about discrimination and all these kind of things, and we haven't really known who they are before, and there's no national statistics about them either. Nobody knows who they are. They are not registered anywhere. So that that is something new. Also, we asked international students and all the students that we actually created a new variable. Those who have arrived in Sweden within 2 years before starting their studies, we are considered as incoming students or international students. And for those, we had the whole group of different questions. Why did they come to Sweden? And if they plan on staying, and if they don't plan on staying, what are the reasons? And is it, about the work market and these kind of things, because we very much would like them to stay in Sweden, but most of them are leaving.
Mm-hmm. So very specific groups of students that you would like to know more about for your policymaking. Yeah. From Czech Republic or Cyprus, is there anything that you add to the core questionnaire?
Yes, we added a small set of questions aimed towards internationalization of the environment of the students. So it were questions like if the students meet often international students at their university in Czechia, if there is English language used in teaching, and if the international perspective is used in teaching. So this was a topic that we would like to research and also to compare universities. So yeah, a few questions on this.
Mm-hmm. Also very interesting angle. And Alexandra, did you add anything, or you started the first experience with the core questionnaire only?
We have added only 1-2 questions for PhD students. We borrow the questions from Austria. that they had, I think, more than 2 questions, but we only used the 2 questions. All our national surveys address EQF levels 5 to 8. So we wanted to maintain this consistency with EUROSTUDENTs. So yes, only 1-2 questions because the questionnaire was already extensive.
Yeah, we have mentioned it many times that it's a long one, and it takes a lot from students to answer it all. Yes, many interesting ideas actually. What can be added if you want to, but always keeping in mind that it's long already. Of course, we can't talk about the results yet, but I have 2 final questions before we start wrapping it all up. And this would be that have there been any unexpected findings or observations during this round of data collection? For example, I don't know, response patterns, engagement levels, or anything else regarding the survey execution, anything unexpected? And the other one would be that are there any topics or trends that you are especially eager to see the results of, that you're really looking forward to see already? What's going on?
Yeah, if I may start.
Yeah, of course.
What was unexpected, maybe the attitude of some GDPR officers at universities. Some of them were quiet, let's say, quite reluctant to, let's say, to send out even the questionnaires to their students. So they were worried that that even sending out the questionnaire breaches some GDPR rules. This was so there was quite some communication about this. In some cases, it wasn't even successful at the end. Then the response rates varies quite a lot among different universities. At some universities, obviously, students are more cooperative, both to their own university and to us. And yeah, the differences were quite high. And what we are interested in for the results, that was also the question, right? No.
Yeah.
It would be the effect, because in Czechia there was a very high inflation in previous years between the rounds actually. So we would like to see how much this reflects on students, including housing crisis, which is very I would say severe in Czechia recently. Also the mental health part is very interesting for us, that you mentioned, that was quite expanded this time. Yeah. That is for me.
The cost of living crisis, I think it's a topic everywhere. Yeah, very interesting. Jari or Alexandra, who will continue?
Okay, I guess that. Also, the same, the cost of living. I have already noticed that it has had a dramatical change, dramatical increase in the students who report that they have financial difficulties. So that is something I have already noticed. Also, I was interested in looking at the international students and how many of them are planning on staying in Sweden. And 75% said that they are planning on staying in Sweden after graduation, and we know from statistics that very few of them do. So something goes wrong, and that I think is interesting to look
this talent retention question, that how to keep them.
Exactly.
Very interesting. And Alexandra, what about Cyprus?
Yeah, we are also interested in housing conditions and who finances their studies and financial difficulties, of course, because this is the first time we will have data on this kind of topics. That this is the first time for us. We're also interested to barriers for participation to international mobility, because so far we know that participation is low from other surveys as well, but we don't know what are the reasons. And for the first time with EUROSTUDENT data, we will have some insight to the reasons that students do not participate to mobilities. Yeah, this too.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap it up in let's say 2 minutes. Are there any questions from the audience? Any comments from other countries? Either put it to the chat, just raise your hand, let us know.
Yes, in again, if I
Yeah,
may.
please.
I'm interested if a question for all of our speakers. Do you read the last comments at the end of the survey? And if yes, what do you make of this new information? You know, the qualitative data we have at the end of the survey. Students are telling about their own stories a bit in this with this possibility.
I'm not really sure what you mean, but we in Sweden at least we have after every group of questions we have an open space where students can write whatever they want, their own comments, the explanations to how what they have answered before, and we do we do use them quite a lot in the analysis phase, but we don't do a general analysis on all the students, all the answers now.
Just to specify, was it that you meant, Yasin? Or do you want to specify the question?
No, I didn't know that in Sweden you have an open field for comment at the end of each question. I think it's a lot of possibility for students, but then it's a lot of work for the data scientist to work with this text and qualitative data. But I meant the last. Usually we have a last question. Do you have any other comments on anything on the survey, or and I was referring to this. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is such a question in your student survey open question.
I don't think so. I haven't looked at it like detailed in like very much in detail, but I don't think that we've got this kind of question at the end. Unfortunately, like it would be interesting.
Yeah, Alexandra, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think we didn't have it either. Usually we do in all our surveys, but I think in EUROSTUDENT, because we had also the centralized tool, we didn't, but we know it is a good practice because there are students may bring aspects we haven't thought about it, so as to include it as a national question in the next round. So it will be a good idea to add this question next round if there will be any topics that you would have liked to see in the questionnaire in the next round, so students' voices can be heard and be implemented in the next round of the EUROSTUDENT cycle.
Yeah.
I could maybe add that although we didn't have that kind of question, which would have been very good, some students contact us by email and tell their comments about the entire survey. That happens, yes. And one I think a very good comment is that the survey is so very long that we should make it shorter. And some students propose that maybe not all the questions should be sent to all the students. So some students answer some questions and some others. And I think that could be an interesting, if it is technically possible to do that you divide a little bit, and that makes it more attractive for students to answer if it's not 45 minutes.
Yes, definitely an idea to think about. Any other comments or questions? Maybe you, Silvia or Cordelia, want to join in as well for the last minute. Comment something, ask something.
Yeah, I think about the last open question, I think Jari said it already. In the EUROSTUDENT questionnaire itself, there is no such question intended to be, but some countries have them themselves to find out more about what their students might want to ask, and so on.
Okay, but if there are not any more questions or comments, I know I have already stolen 5 more minutes than we expected. So sorry, but it has been a very fruitful and interesting discussion, and to hear that some of the challenges are very similar, and then there are some specific aspects regarding different countries. So always worth changing the experiences. Thank you all. Thank you all the speakers, and also to you, Sylvia and Cordelia, that you joined from the international side. And thanks, of course, to all our listeners. You can all already save the date for the next EUROSTUDENT Talks. It will be the 11th of December. And this is our traditional December webinar where we have student representatives from different countries joining us and talking about their experiences during this school year and what they are also looking forward in 2026. And this time we already know that we will have 4 countries involved: Lithuania, Romania, Malta, and Ireland. So more information is coming as the time gets closer, but you can already save the 11th of December. So thank you all. Thanks for joining us and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.